Have you ever wondered why so many people begin to think that life is almost over after the age of 65? Why is it that once they cross this milestone, many people automatically assume their bodies will only grow weaker, their memory will decline, and the remaining years are simply about getting through the days? But the truth may make you rethink that belief. At 65, you are nowhere near the end of the road. In fact, you have only just passed the halfway point of your life. Your heart is still capable of beating billions more times. Your brain can still form new connections. Your muscles can still recover and become stronger if they are activated the right way. The problem is not that the body has lost its ability. The problem is that many daily habits unknowingly send the wrong message to the body, telling it it's time to slow down, it's time to give up. In a study that followed tens of thousands of older adults over several decades, scientists discovered something very striking. People who maintained a few simple morning habits not only lived longer, but also kept steadier legs, clearer minds, and far more stable energy levels than others. What's remarkable is that this difference did not come from expensive medications or complex medical treatments. It came from the way they started their day. Few people realize that every morning, the moment you open your eyes, your body is in a state of waiting for instructions. The early part of the day is when your cells decide whether to prioritize repair or continue breaking down. When mornings begin with stress, inactivity, or poor choices, the body automatically shifts into a defensive mode. But when you start the day the right way, the body's natural healing mechanisms and anti-aging processes are activated on their own. In this video, I will share 6 simple but extremely important morning habits that can help extend lifespan and improve quality of life after the age of 65. And you should watch until the end, because one habit may seem very small, yet it has a deep impact at the cellular level that many people have never noticed. And now, before we move into those habits, let's begin with the very first thing that many people are doing wrong the moment they wake up each morning. Habit number 6. Rehydrating immediately after waking, an essential warm-up for the heart and brain. Many older adults begin their mornings with coffee, strong tea, or sometimes nothing at all. It may seem harmless, but in reality, this is one of the quiet habits that causes the body to weaken faster over time. After a night of sleeping for many hours, your body has lost a significant amount of water through breathing and sweating without you even realizing it. This means that when you wake up, your blood is thicker, circulation is slower, and your heart has to work harder just to maintain basic functions. Simply drinking about 2 glasses of plain water at room temperature immediately after waking, before eating or drinking anything else, can help reverse this condition. Early rehydration helps thin the blood, reduce strain on the heart, and improve blood flow to the brain during the first minutes of the day, a time when the body is especially sensitive to biological signals. Many long-term studies following older adults have shown that those who make a habit of drinking water right after waking have significantly lower rates of cardiovascular and circulation problems. The reason is not only the intake of water itself, but also that the kidneys and liver begin functioning more efficiently, helping remove waste that has accumulated overnight. One important factor that is often overlooked is water temperature. Room temperature water is absorbed more quickly because the body does not need to expend energy warming it up. In contrast, very cold water can cause blood vessels to constrict temporarily, slowing the rehydration process your body needs. You should also avoid carbonated drinks, sugary beverages, or flavored waters at this time, because when the stomach is empty, additives can easily cause irritation and slow absorption. If you want to add some flavor, a small slice of lemon is enough to stimulate digestion without interfering with hydration. Many older adults no longer feel thirst as clearly as they did when they were younger. As a result, waiting until you feel thirsty to drink water is often too late. By that point, your cells may have already been functioning in a dehydrated state for hours, leading to fatigue, dizziness, or headaches early in the morning. With just this simple habit, you create a more stable foundation for your body to begin the day. However, water is only the initial warm-up. For the body's biological systems to truly become synchronized and function in the right rhythm, another natural factor plays a decisive role immediately afterward, and it comes from the light you are exposed to during the first moments of the morning. Habit number 5. Morning exposure to natural light, the body's way of resetting its biological clock. Right after rehydration, the next thing your body needs is not your phone or television, but natural light. Just a short period of exposure to morning light can make a significant difference to your body's entire biological activity throughout the day. Inside our eyes are special light-sensitive cells that are not used for vision, but instead send signals directly to the brain center that controls biological rhythms. When morning light reaches these cells, the brain understands that a new day has begun and immediately adjusts hormone release accordingly. The first response is a drop in melatonin, the hormone that causes sleepiness, while morning cortisol rises to an appropriate level to help you feel alert and ready to move. This balance is crucial, because without early light exposure, the biological clock gradually shifts, making it harder to sleep at night while causing fatigue during the day. Many long-term observations show that older adults who are regularly exposed to natural morning light experience better sleep quality, more stable moods, and less prolonged sluggishness. Morning light also supports the body's natural production of vitamin D, something that supplements cannot fully replace. You do not need to stand in harsh sunlight. Simply opening the curtains, stepping onto a balcony, or taking a light walk outdoors for about 10 minutes in the early morning is enough to trigger the necessary biological responses. Even on cloudy days, natural light is still far more powerful than indoor lighting. A common mistake is using a phone screen immediately after waking, assuming that blue light has a similar effect. In reality, this artificial light lacks the full spectrum needed and can cause the brain to misinterpret time signals, further disrupting the biological clock. When the body is properly awakened by natural light, internal systems begin to function more smoothly, from hormones and blood pressure to overall energy levels. However, for these signals to go beyond simple alertness and be converted into real physical strength, your cells need to receive a very important type of fuel during the next window of the morning. Habit number 4. Getting enough protein in the morning, the foundation for preserving muscle and mobility after 60. When it comes to aging, many people think only about heart health or memory. In reality, the loss of muscle is what causes older adults to lose independence the fastest. What is concerning is that this process often happens quietly, even when you are still eating regularly every day. After the age of 60, the body begins to lose muscle mass year by year. If muscles are not properly stimulated and nourished, they do not just become weaker, but also lead to declines in strength, balance, and reaction speed. This is exactly why the risk of falls increases, and why even a single fall can result in serious consequences. One of the most important times to protect muscle is actually in the morning. After many hours of fasting during sleep, the body is in a state that is ready to absorb nutrients and rebuild tissue. If breakfast lacks protein, the body is forced to take amino acids from its own muscle tissue to sustain vital functions, accelerating the process of muscle loss. Many studies show that consuming about 25 to 30 grams of protein within 60 to 90 minutes after waking activates muscle protein synthesis more effectively than consuming most of your protein at dinner. In other words, eating protein at the right time is just as important as eating enough of it. The type of protein also plays a major role. Complete protein sources such as eggs, Greek yogurt, fish, or lean meat provide all the essential amino acids that the body cannot produce on its own. As a result, muscles and joints are better supported for rebuilding, rather than merely being maintained at a minimal level. In contrast, a breakfast made up only of bread, thin porridge, or sweet cereals may create a feeling of fullness quickly, but it sends a signal to the body that there are not enough building materials available. This activates a conservation mode in which breakdown is prioritized over repair. One point that is often overlooked is that the digestive system in the morning, after resting overnight, usually functions more efficiently. This allows the body to absorb protein better than in the evening, when digestion has already slowed. Therefore, the same amount of protein consumed at breakfast often provides greater benefits for muscle than it does later in the day. When you combine morning protein intake with the biological signals that have already been activated, such as hydration and natural light, the body begins to shift into a state that is ready for movement and repair. However, for this strength to truly be translated into safe and stable movement in daily life, there is another key factor directly related to the brain and nervous system that many people are still overlooking. Habit number 3. Morning balance training. A rejuvenating signal for the brain and movement system. In later adulthood, many people believe that unsteady walking is simply the result of weaker muscles. In reality, balance is the outcome of a sophisticated coordination between the brain, the nervous system, and the small muscle groups around the ankles, knees, and hips. When this coordination declines, the risk of falling rises quickly, even in situations that seem harmless. What is noteworthy is that balance ability does not only reflect physical strength, but also indicates how flexible and responsive the brain still is. Long-term studies following older adults have found that those who maintain simple daily balance exercises not only fall less often, but also retain better reaction speed and concentration. Morning is a particularly suitable time to train balance. After a night's sleep, the vestibular system and neural pathways are in a restart state. Gentle stimulation at this time helps the brain quickly re-establish communication with the muscles, much like recalibrating a control system before it operates throughout the day. Simply standing on one leg for several seconds, then switching sides, forces the brain to process multiple signals at once, from vision to the sensation of the foot touching the ground, to the position of joints and muscles. This very process strengthens neural connections, rather than allowing them to gradually decline with age. Many people are surprised to discover that after a short period of maintaining this habit, they feel more confident in their walking, react more quickly when encountering obstacles, and experience less fear when moving across uneven surfaces. This is not the result of becoming physically stronger, but rather because the brain has relearned how to keep the body stable. To ensure safety, you should practice near a wall or chair. Start with short durations and gradually increase as you feel steadier. Once you are comfortable, adding gentle movements such as slow head turns can increase the challenge for the nervous system. Morning balance training not only helps reduce the risk of falls, but also sends a very important message to the brain. The body is still being used, still needs protection, and still needs improvement. And when the brain receives this signal, it activates deeper mechanisms at the cellular level, where the aging process can be slowed through a habit that seems very simple, yet directly affects the autonomic nervous system. Habit number 2, controlled deep breathing, a way to activate the body's natural repair system. Most of us breathe all day long, yet very rarely do we actually breathe correctly. Especially in older adults, breathing tends to become shallower and faster over time, causing the lungs to be underused compared to their full capacity. This quietly reduces the amount of oxygen delivered to organs and accelerates aging at the cellular level. A slow, controlled breathing technique, practiced immediately after waking, can make a noticeable difference. When you intentionally slow your breathing and lengthen your exhale, the autonomic nervous system shifts from a state of tension to a state of recovery. This is the moment when the body prioritizes repair rather than energy expenditure. The method is very simple. Inhale slowly for a few counts, hold the breath briefly, then exhale more slowly and for a longer duration than the inhale. When this cycle is repeated multiple times, it sends a strong signal to the vagus nerve, the switch that regulates heart rate, blood pressure, and inflammatory responses in the body. Many studies show that the habit of deep morning breathing improves heart rate variability, an important indicator that reflects the body's adaptability and biological age. When the heart rhythm becomes more flexible, circulation works more efficiently, the brain receives a steadier supply of oxygen, and feelings of anxiety are noticeably reduced. Another benefit that is less often mentioned is the effect of deep breathing on stress hormone levels. Morning is a time when the body is easily triggered into a rushed response. If you immediately think about work, news, or daily worries. Slow breathing helps establish a biological anchor, keeping the nervous system in a balanced state from the very start of the day. As the lungs are used more fully, the deeper regions of the lungs, areas that are rarely activated during shallow breathing, begin to exchange gases more efficiently. This allows oxygen to penetrate deeper into the bloodstream while supporting the removal of accumulated carbon dioxide, reducing mild tissue acidification, a factor associated with premature aging. Just a few minutes of proper breathing each morning may not create an immediate feeling of excitement, but it builds a very solid biological foundation for the entire day. It helps the body enter a stable state in which the habits you have already practiced, hydration, light exposure, protein intake, and gentle movement, can work at their highest effectiveness. And when all of these signals are connected, the body does not simply function more smoothly over the course of a single morning, but begins a deeper cycle of change. This is when you realize that the true power of these habits does not lie in each one individually, but in how they work together to reshape the biological rhythm of an entire day and the years ahead. Habit number 1. The 4-7-8 breathing pattern, a biological signal that directly affects cellular lifespan. Among all the morning habits mentioned, there is one that affects not only muscles, the cardiovascular system, or the brain, but also has a deep influence on how genes in your body function. That habit is how you breathe immediately after waking up. Most older adults tend to breathe shallowly, quickly, and mainly in the upper part of the lungs. This breathing pattern gradually reduces the amount of oxygen entering the bloodstream, while maintaining a mild but prolonged state of tension in the nervous system. When this condition repeats every day, aging at the cellular level accelerates without you even realizing it. The 4-7-8 breathing technique helps reverse this process naturally. When you inhale slowly for 4 counts, hold the breath for 7 counts, and exhale slowly for 8 counts, the body receives a very clear signal that it is in a safe state. Almost immediately, the nervous system shifts from stress mode to recovery and repair mode. What makes this breathing pattern unique is the combination of the breath hold and the extended exhale. The brief pause during the hold allows oxygen to be absorbed into the bloodstream as fully as possible, while the long exhale strongly activates the relaxation response, naturally slowing the heart rate and lowering blood pressure. This creates a biological foundation that helps cells reduce inflammation and increase their ability to protect themselves. Many scientific observations show that people who maintain slow, deep breathing patterns have better heart rate variability, an important marker that reflects the body's adaptability and biological age. When the heart rhythm is no longer locked into a rigid stress state, circulation becomes more flexible, the brain receives a steadier supply of oxygen, and prolonged fatigue is noticeably reduced. Morning is the ideal time to practice this breathing technique. Before the worries of the day appear, spending just a few minutes on controlled breathing establishes a calm biological reference point that helps the body maintain balance for many hours afterward. No equipment is needed, no special space is required, only your attention on your own breath. When practiced consistently, the 4-7-8 breathing pattern not only helps you feel calmer throughout the day, but also supports blood circulation, improves sleep quality, and creates favorable conditions for deeper recovery mechanisms within the body. This is why this habit is often considered the final activation point of a healthy morning routine. And when you look back at everything that has been shared, from water and light to nutrition, movement, and breathing, you will realize that these are not isolated tips. They are gradually coming together to form a complete picture of how the human body can be supported to live healthier and longer, starting with very small choices made at the beginning of each new day. Conclusion: when your mornings change, the trajectory of aging changes as well. When you place all of these habits side by side, you will see that they do not work in isolation. Each small action in the morning supports and amplifies the effect of the next. Water helps blood circulate more easily. Light keeps hormones operating on the right rhythm. Nutrition provides the raw materials for repair. Gentle movement awakens the nervous system, and deep breathing creates a biological environment that supports recovery. What matters is not doing many things all at once, but allowing your body to receive consistent signals every day. When these signals are repeated long enough, the body adjusts how it allocates energy, how it repairs damage, and how it responds to stress. This is when aging no longer happens passively, but becomes better regulated. You do not need to change your entire life overnight. Start with just one habit tomorrow morning. It might be drinking water before picking up your phone. It might be opening the curtains and letting light fill the room. Once your body becomes familiar with one new signal, add the next habit. Within just a few weeks, you will notice that your mornings feel lighter and more structured. The greatest difference is not how many extra years you live, but how you live those years. At age 80 or 85, do you want to walk confidently, hold clear conversations, and remain independent in daily life, or rely on others for very small tasks? The answer does not lie in the distant future, but in the repeated choices you make each morning. The next time you wake up, that morning is not just the beginning of a new day. It is another opportunity to send your body a message that you are still caring for it, still using it, and still believing in its ability to recover. And over time, those messages will shape your health, clarity of mind, and quality of life for many years to come. If you have any questions or would like to share your experience, please leave a comment below. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and may you always begin each morning in the way that benefits you most.